What is going on, Vikings fans? Welcome back to the Purple and Gold Bars channel. I am your host, Supreme Overlord, aka Mr. AI Man 3000, aka Mr. Purple and Gold Bars, at your service. You have reached the number one spot for outside of the box thinking, uh, positive vibes and optimism, trying to drown out all the negativity that we see every single day. I'm on the road to 500 subscribers. I'm hoping to get there by the end of the calendar year. So please like and subscribe. Uh, it would really mean the world to me. And I can't wait to hit these milestones with you guys going forward. Now, today's the big day. We're going to be going through the Vikings versus Browns preview. I'm going to go over everything Viking side, Brown side, try to give you guys as much information and notes that I have kind of gathered on top of my intuitions and of course, my color commentary, my outside of the box thinking for you guys. That way you guys have hopefully another perspective to look at and make your judgments and, decide how much confidence you have going in this week. But first and foremost, I want to start by with a little bit of positivity and fun. You may just been finished work, or you might be at work right now, and it could be could be a stressful day. It might just be one of those days. So I thought, going forward, I want to start with having a nice little positive moment, something funny, maybe a video clip, or maybe an article, or a joke, something like that, to kind of get you guys, feeling a little bit lighthearted and kind of put some of that crappiness that the world likes to dump on us every single day just behind us, even if just for a few moments. That way we can get right into it and jump into this Vikings versus Browns preview. How does that sound? Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. We are on the road to 500 subscribers by the end of the calendar year, and I really appreciate your support when it comes to that, guys. All right. I want to start with a little bit of positivity. We're going to start today with a video that I think is absolutely hilarious. And me personally, whenever I'm feeling down or upset or negative or whatever negative emotion that I might be feeling, the first thing that I always do is run to one of my puppies, hug them, pet with them, play with them. And it almost immediately makes me happy. And I want to kind of bring that to you and that feeling to you with a great puppy video, dog video, a little funny video for us to kind of get in the mood. Hey, MJ, thank you for stopping by. And getting you guys hopefully in a nice brighter feeling, because at the very end, all I really want is to try to help provide a spot for you guys to let go of some of those stresses and kind of forget about things and kind of regain some control over the negativity that kind of bombards us on a regular basis. So let's start with it. I saw this video. Let's remove that. We're going to add that. I saw this video earlier, and it just made me laugh, and it made me feel so good inside. So I thought I would share it with you. So it's a quick video. I don't know if we're going to make it through the whole 2 minutes and 26 seconds, but maybe a minute and a half, because there are a lot of great clips here. So let's enjoy a quick moment, a quick minute, 2 minutes of relaxation, and kind of a happy moment to get us started before we get into this Browns versus Vikings preview.
Go whisper bark. Nope, quiet. Whisper. You whisper bark. You go whoop.
Yeah. I absolutely love it. Oh, he's so proud of himself. Oh, this one gets me every single time I see it.
She's chewing on your tail, man. He said, what?
He's like, what the?
I can't believe that.
I absolutely love it. Oh, look at this cutie patootie, a Belgian Malinois right there, pup.
You or you walking me?
Ooh.
Okay.
Corgis, they're so darn cute.
Whisper.
Oh, he's so cute. He's just wants. Oh, he's so cute. He's so
Robbie,
cute.
I got bad news for you.
Uh
Robert's eating your food.
oh. Straight into action.
Sneeze. Bigger. You ate super chewy. So what do we say when we steal someone else's chewy? What do we say? Do you know?
Oh
Yeah,
my
we say
goodness.
we're
I
sorry.
love that. Oh my
We say
goodness.
we're sorry.
Look at that.
You're
Even
a good
our
boy.
canine
You're a good
friends,
boy.
have
Wanna go
that
for a ride?
capacity to be
Or how about
kind
let's take
and
a bath?
thoughtful, and I love it. They're so sweet.
You look just like your
They're
mama.
so sweet. Oh, this one gets me too. Oh, look at the mama. Oh, look at the mama. Oh. Oh, that is so good. That is so good. I hope you guys enjoyed that moment where we just kind of put things aside and have a little moment of fun or of laughter. But let's get right into it, guys. We need to get into the Minnesota Vikings versus the Cleveland Browns out in London for our 2025 London games. Going into London, we are undefeated, 4-0 in London. So a small bit of anecdotal evidence that doesn't really mean anything because those teams were completely different. For the most part, we still have like the coach. I think the most recent one we had like KOC, of course, but for the most part, it's going to be a different situation, different outcome. So I don't really put too much credence into that, but it is something fun to mention and kind of keep us motivated through this game. But let's get right into it, guys. All right. We are going to move in. Let me get my next slide up. Here we go. Slide number 2. All right. Let's get my notes up so I don't forget anything. Where is it? All right. So we're going to start with the Minnesota Vikings and our offense, right? We're in a clear offensive line crisis. We have 3 starters out. Ryan Kelly's due to concussions, Donovan Jackson after a wrist injury and surgery, and then Brian O'Neill, the most recent one of our stalwart players on the O-line. So it is definitely a crisis, regardless of which way you want to spin it. I know that a lot of people are taking the oh, it's all doom and gloom kind of approach, but you know what, where other people see destruction and lack of hope, I see opportunity. I see opportunity for our O-line coach to step up and have our backups more prepared, and I've also see opportunities for these depth players to come in and take hold of their opportunity, as well as because there are a lot of these guys are just dying and hoping for a chance to prove what they got, and so that's what I see opportunities for them. Another week of opportunities for them to show us what they're made of. So it is quite a rough situation, but it is what it is, and that's sometimes all we can do right now. As a result, we have quite a rough situation, right? Potentially, we have backup tackle Justin School facing Myles Garrett, a nightmare matchup for him and for us fans, but hopefully now that we're 4 games deep and Justin has had some reps, maybe he's kind of starting to get some more consistency or find a little bit more of a groove. I know he's not going to be an all-star level like we're expected or like that we're used to, right? But it is what it is. You know what I mean? And hopefully he can make the best out of his situation and give us some good play, enough good play to where we can take control of the game and come away with a win, of course, right? Now that brings me off to the next slide here. Oh, that's not, I don't want to share screen. I need slide. And that brings me to my 4th slide here, our quarterback situation. Now, Carson Wentz has struggled with sacks and turnovers this season. Both our quarterbacks take a sack rate at a 14% rate, which is one of the worst marks since 1990 for our Vikings. So it is definitely a concern. We want to make sure that Carson Wentz is getting the ball out quickly, and hopefully aligns with a lot more running plays, pitch plays, screen passes, slants, quick passes, stuff like that, that are essentially the same as or very similar or the same outcome as a running play, keeping that pass rush neutralized because they won't have enough time to get to the quarterback. So hopefully Carson Wentz is able to continue improving in those areas, and he's able to follow that game plan, and hopefully I don't see a lot of times where he's audibling out of running plays, or what I perceive as running plays, into bad situations, right? So hopefully we see some more consistency coming over from Carson Wentz, and we can hopefully get less sacks hopefully this week, and more and less turnovers, like fumbles or lost fumbles or interceptions, right? So that's going to be a big factor for us. Now, we are lucky though. Because we do have a good we got great weapons, right? So we have dynamic playmakers in Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson went for, I believe it was 124 yards last week. So he was very impactful in the game, as well as Jordan Addison coming back first game of the season with a massive stat line, 114 yards with an 81-yard touchdown last week, which totally helped swing the momentum and get us back onto that comeback path, even though we weren't able to pull it off. So those playmakers are capable of turning things even in the most dire situations. So the Vikings playmakers like that are definitely a area of where we can gather some confidence, and hopefully if it all comes together properly, they'll be able to have a fantastic day. And now another thing that we got going forward for us is the fact that we've had some more production, and maybe the emergence potentially today, or already the emergence of Xavier Scott. Is it either way? Mr. Scott, our backup running back, our rookie quarterback, right? Last week he emerged a little bit with as a receiving threat, and he also was able to put in his first career touchdown, right? So it's the beginnings of players taking advantage of the opportunities they're given, and that's why I like to look for the opportunities and try to be optimistic instead of pessimistic. And our rookie running back, Mr. Scott, looks to hopefully have another great day out of the backfield as a receiving threat for us. The next thing that, hey, left name, and but it is a good thing that he is emerging, because the more threats that we have out of the backfield, hopefully that'll open up more opportunities for Jordan Mason in the running game, because the run game has struggled at times this year, right? We've been held to under 80 rushing yards in the 2 of the last 3 games. So it is something that we need to stay vigilant on, to establishing that run game with it, because without that, it's going to only embolden these Browns to dial up the heat on the pass rush, because they're not going to feel any fear from the passing game. So if we can accomplish that, and Mr. Scott's able to provide some of that, be a little bit of a pressure relief valve in the short passing game, keeping this defense honest, will definitely have a tremendous impact, on top of the fact that it'll open up Jordan Mason to have hopefully a better week this week. Now, moving on to the defensive side of things, I want to talk about our defensive scheme. It's a disguise heavy scheme, we know, showing a lot of blitz, a lot of looks pre-snap. That creativity in that uniqueness of a Brian Flores defense is something that we've been subject to, the growth, the evolution from being projected, having a 28th, 29th bottom of the league defense in year one of Brian Flores, to then making a massive step to arguably being anywhere between like that 15th to 17th defense overall at the end of that year, a massive gain. And then in year two, having a big jump to where we were considered a top 10 defense and consistent growth in his scheme to last year where we were arguably a top 5 defense under the Brian Flores scheme. And I know not every scheme is perfect. There are holes in everything. Even the great Steve Spagnuolo gets a lot of criticism over his scheme and his philosophies, with a lot of criticism and people highlighting the weaknesses in there in his offense or in his defense. But nonetheless, regardless of those holes, regardless of those perceived weaknesses, they still play at an all-time level, and they are very effective at what they do, which the same can be said about Brian Flores. So I am very excited to see how Brian Flores tackles on the unique challenges of taking on a rookie quarterback for the first time. Now, Jalen Redmond has flashed, right? He has looked great this year. And in the last game, he was able to put up some good numbers, coming up with a 2-sack game against Aaron Rodgers and those Steelers. And let me put up that slide here. Is that the right slide? It may have been. Hold on a sec. That may be the wrong one. Bear with me, guys. So, what was the last one? Brian Flores scheme. Oh, so it's this one. Okay. I went to the wrong one, guys. All right. So then when we look at our Vikings defensive strengths and weaknesses, we've shown flashes, pass rush flashes. There's also the run defense can be shaky at time, right? Redmond, like I was saying, did account for 2 sacks versus Rodgers, but we also did give up some explosive runs and some explosive plays. So it's something that we definitely need to be aware of and conscious of, but not to the point where we need to start, bailing ship or over worrying. It's just more about the awareness and knowing that is something that they will be looking to take advantage of on us, right? So let's move on to the next slide. Now, when we look at the Vikings secondary, we've been a solid unit. We've had great moments. The defense has been the majority reason why we've been in every single game every year. We just couldn't capitalize against the Falcons and do anything to kind of get us back in the game. And then against the Steelers, they did everything they could. It just we couldn't complete the comeback, right? So great signs from a defense that's able to bend, not break, and provide a lot of opportunities and chances for this offense to take control and either take over the game and stay ahead, or give us the opportunity to stay close and potentially and give us multiple opportunities to turn the game around, complete a comeback, or even steal a win, right? So very overall a good defense, although we have seen some massive plays, right? Like I said, it's a bend not break defense. There are going to be some bad plays that are allowed, right? Metcalf went for 80 yards last week, and Gainwell had 99 yards and 2 touchdowns. So something to always be aware of, right? Oh. Let's move on to the next slide. There we go. So the next slide. Let's move on to the Browns. All right, we got to move on and talk about the Browns here. So it's been reported, and it's definitely no secret now that the Browns quarterback situation has changed. So Dylan Gabriel has now been named the starter. He's going to replace Joe Flacco and looks to kind of add a little bit of spark to that offense that has been completely anemic this year. The strengths that he has, he's got, he's young, he's got mobility, he's got a quick release, and can be effective under 2.5 seconds, right? Like any quarterback can be. Now, where we're looking to take over and capitalize is some weakness, hopefully in red zone decision making, and over as well as the increased likelihood of turnovers, taking sacks, making bad decisions, right? So, in general, and then. Which is okay. It's something to be expected from a rookie quarterback, and that is a very common strategy when we're trying to bring in when teams try to bring in a rookie quarterback. Right now, moving into the next slide. Is what the Browns need to do to be effective, right? So they got to maintain quick throws. They got to keep simplified reads, and they need to be looking to get Isaiah Bond as well as Fannin Jr. and Sampson, their wide receivers to just not appear in flashes and try to get some consistency on them. Because if they can do that, then they're going to have a pretty decent day offensively in comparison, especially to their past, but in general. So that's something that we need to be aware of. And hopefully Brian Flores does a great job of neutralizing those threats, because we don't want them to take over and really make a massive impact, making it even harder for our Vikings to come away with a win. Now, when it comes to pass protection, now the O-line for the Cleveland Browns has definitely struggled at times. Their right tackle has allowed 10 more pressures than any other lineman in the unit. Ranks near the bottom in pass protection as well. I know that we're probably close to that as well because of all our offensive line issues. So it's going to be which pass rush, which defensive units can capitalize on the O-line situation of both teams. So it's definitely going to be something that a area of concern for not only the Browns, but as us as well. Now, when we move on to there are other aspects of the run of the Cleveland Browns that we need to be concerned with is their ability to run the ball. Now, their running back Judkins has definitely started to kind of find a groove and start to improve his running game. He has definitely been more effective in the past couple weeks. So with our inability last week to control the run early, it's going to be imperative that we start focusing on that run, on that rush defense early, and trying to make impacts and not let him get into a groove, because he is one of their few offensive bright spots, right? He's got 2 touchdowns in 2 weeks, and he's been able to be productive in the running game and in the short down receiving game. So it's definitely something for an advantage for this Cleveland Browns, in an area of concern, in an area of game plan that we need to have fully dialed in going into this game against these Cleveland Browns. Now, we can't ignore all their playmakers, right? We have Jerry Jeudy, Isaiah Bond, David Njoku. They are their playmakers. Although they have been inconsistent this year, that doesn't take away from the raw talent and potential that they can bring to the table. It's something that we have to be concerned of and aware of, so that we can prepare for it and hopefully keep them being inconsistent at times. That way we can kind of capitalize on those failed drives, so we can hopefully get a leg up, a strong foothold in this game, so we can be in control and not be reactive like we have been at times when trying to build a comeback. So it is important for us to be very aware about these Cleveland Browns playmakers that have a lot of raw talent and potential to really make us pay. Now, moving on to the elephant in the room, I guess you could say. This Cleveland Browns pass rush is no freaking joke, guys. They're the number one pass rush grade in the NFL right now at a 90.3. They're led by one of the most dynamic playmakers, defensive playmakers in modern football, Myles Garrett, definitely a generational talent. They have Mason Graham and Malik Collins that are definitely emerging and doing a great job. Based on the opportunities they're facing with all the double teams and triple teams and all the scheming and game planning for Myles Garrett has opened them up to having some great outings and being a problem when it comes to the pass rush. So the pressure that they create wreaks havoc without needing to dial up blitzes, just sending their standard defensive linemen on a rush and dropping their secondary into coverage or man-to-man or into man-to-man has proven to be more than enough pass rush, so they're not relying on blitzes and stuff like that. So it's something that we need to be aware of and something that we have to be ready with, like I said, with quick passes, with runs, pitches, things of that nature, quick slants, drag routes, things like that allow us to get the ball out of our hands of Carson Wentz a lot quicker, and hopefully keep that defense honest, keep the defensive coordinator, and putting some of these guys into pass coverage when they perceive that they really need to address that, even though their O-line or their pass rush is quite dynamic, right? Now, the recent struggles that they have had versus the Ravens and Lions came more from turnovers and special teams play, not defensive breakdown. So we can't get confused and be like, oh, look, these Ravens went in there, these Lions went in there, and really that defense had really no impact. No. That defense was still quite impactful. It just came, their advantages came from the turnovers that the Lions and the Ravens defense were able to produce, as well as the special teams play, right? So areas that we can also be impactful and hopefully take out this team, right? If we can create turnovers, if we can create third and longs and put them in situations where we end up having our special teams giving us great punt returns and great field positions, it can really set us up for success. I believe so. We do start them this week, and definitely both guys are crucial for our success. Both guys can definitely, Addison and Hawkinson can definitely be dynamic playmakers, even though at sometimes we tend to lean to the hot hand and we let those guys kind of disappear at times. Last week wasn't the case, where we put too much effort and focus on getting JJ going. Jordan Addison got into the party, and Hawkinson had some key grabs in the game. So it's crucial for those guys to be out there and for them to be contributing in the ways and in the key moments they need to be. Making sure that we're extending drives, making sure that we're capitalizing on a lot of things, right? So those two guys are going to be huge, on top of Jordan Mason, on top of Mr. Scott, on top of Jettas, right? Like, they need to be effective with the chances that they get, because if they can do that and everybody puts in a great performance that way and contributes every which way they can, this Vikings offense should be way more productive than the Dylan Gabriel led Browns offense, right? Now, another thing that we got to talk about this defense, which is extremely dynamic and can do a lot of things. I know everybody likes to talk about the pass rush, but they are an opportunistic bunch, right? They had an interception against Goff, and but they can get exposed if the rush doesn't land, right? So there are clear weaknesses, that secondary in spots. So if we can create opportunities and making them, be more reactive and having to give us a lot more, be more aware, or give us more respect in that manner, we can definitely capitalize on that secondary as well, and kind of make them irrelevant, right? Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about was the history here, which isn't really anything to kind of draw any conclusions on or anything like that, but it's just a fun slide to finish here with, where we talk about the history between our two organizations, right? The Vikings lead the series 12-5, and we had a famous meeting in 1969 for the NFL championship. Vikings won and went to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, we didn't win, of course. And now we have minor things like, so I think it's a really good kind of like reminder. Nothing really impactful or that we can keep, but something cool to kind of keep in mind. Like, we have a history between our teams, and maybe that rivalry or those that feeling of kind of getting back for from the Browns or whatever, kind of getting another one on their side isn't going to be as relevant now since it's been so long. But it's cool to kind of to look at that, how it used to be and going forward, right? So the bottom line, guys, we need to have a defining mismatch. Right? Cleveland's pass rush as well as our pass rush need to be effective against each other's struggling or decimated O-line, right? So though that is one of the key matchups that I suggest you keeping an eye on, especially early in the game. Because it'll kind of give you an indication of how things would go, going into late in the second quarter and into late into the second half, right? So something to keep in mind of, because once early indications on how that's going, where they're most fresh, and if we can be effective and we can neutralize some things, it should give us some confidence going forward throughout the game, right? Now, the Vikings O-line, it's definitely said they got to survive Myles Garrett. We got to be early in the game. We have to be like a championship prize fighter, maybe MMA fighter. Sometimes you see guys come in and just have such a dynamic striking game, or have this knockout power, and they say they have to weather the storm, right? Because as the time goes on in the fight, that dynamicness, that strength, that explosiveness, that power starts to diminish, right, as they get tired, right? So we really need to do the same thing, especially early in the game. If we can neutralize and withstand that early onslaught, I think we would have a great chance of coming away with the victory. Right now, when it comes to the Brown side, right, rookie Dylan Gabriel is taking the field, right? He's got to rely on quick throws, and Judkins to give him relieve a lot of pressure for him, and hopefully he can. And of course, he's going to have to be looking to avoid the multitude of Brian Flores' traps that he likes to send with that pre-snap motion, with all that second guessing and confusion that he likes to create, putting these quarterbacks in a blender. Right? We've seen how great he is against young and rookie quarterbacks in the past. I always like to go back to CJ Stroud, because he was one of these guys that was considered a dynamic quarterback with a lot of potential and a very high ceiling. And in his and then in that game, they were coming in really confident, and Brian Flores was able to completely upend his game plan, completely throw a wrench into his confidence, even to the point where the Houston Texans went ahead and threw in the white towel and put out their backups. They didn't even try to find some sort of opportunity or something that they could use to try to get back in the game. They just gave up and said, you know what, this game is theirs, and they gave up, right? So hopefully Brian Flores is able to accomplish that again this season against Dylan Gabriel in his first start against the Brian Flores defense. It's quite the heck of a welcome to the NFL moment for Dylan Brooks. But you know what? I'm a firm believer, because I say this about JJ McCarthy, is that sometimes you need to throw your rookie quarterbacks into the fire, because sometimes the experiences learned and gathered from those situations, even though they are so objectively difficult or bad for them, can be more the learning experiences can be more valuable than the negative parts of what that game can come up. Now, both defenses are definitely bend but don't break defenses, and both could even the score or even the probability. So it might end up being a stalemate. It's going to be a heck of a defensive battle this week. And it could even, and so it's definitely going to go down to our special teams play, as well as which offense can really get it together despite the tremendous pressure and blender that both defenses will put each other's offenses in, right? So something to keep in mind. It's going to be a hell of a game, guys. This game is going to be top notch. It's going to be ugly at times, but it's also going to be one heck of a game that I think that the defensive minded fans are going to truly enjoy. And I think that regardless of what happens, I think there's going to be a lot of exciting moments and momentum shifts and just quality knock them down, drag them, old school football that sometimes we need a little bit of that in modern day football to kind of remind us where our roots came from. And I think this game is definitely going to be a great example of that old school football, right? Now, let's move on to, let's see here. Let me put up a slide. Let's go back to the first slide here, and we're going to talk about so that's basically all my thoughts. I've gone through basically all my notes, so I guess the last thing that we have to do is kind of go over some predictions, right? So like I said, I was a little bit giving away the plot there and just talking about how I imagine this being a defensive defensive outing from both teams. It might even be a stalemate, right? So it's going to be incumbent on these on our special teams, on both teams, special teams and offenses, to really be the ones to take over the game, right? Now, with everything being said, and with the added advantage of Brian Flores going up against a rookie, I give us a slight advantage in comparison to the Browns offense. I know that we've struggled at times, especially against dynamic pass rushers. So there is a lot of possibility for both the Cleveland Browns as well as our offense to struggle at times. I just believe that with the quality of the roster, the experience that we've had in the past couple of weeks will mold our offense and our playmakers to adjust and hopefully capitalize on the things that they failed to capitalize in the past weeks, especially in week 2 and last week specifically. So I'm hoping that the edge, when I look at, I don't like to go through possibilities. I like to go through probabilities. So I feel like this game, regardless of the situation, on paper is a lot closer. And unlike the Steelers, where I thought it was like a 53, 51%, I think more it's like a 57% chance for the Vikings to kind of come away with the win, and more like a 43% probability for the Browns. So therefore, I'm definitely banking on our Minnesota Vikings doing just enough and more than what the Cleveland Browns can do, and come away with a victory. Now, I think the score is going to be quite dynamic. I think we're going to be putting a lot more points than people will give us credit. So I feel like my final prediction is going to be either 24-27 for the Vikings and anywhere between 9 and 13 for the Browns. So to settle down into a actual score, give me 27 Vikings, 9 Browns in defensive classic game, instant classic, I guess you could call, when it comes to just the defensive prowess that we're going to see from both sides of the field here. So that is my prediction going forward and going into this game. Now, mind you, I'm going to be at church this Sunday because it's an early start for me at 9:30 Eastern. So I will be, like last week, probably starting to watch the game late. So you will get an instant reaction from me after the game. Last week, I was able to catch the last like 13 minutes of the game. So I'm assuming I'll be maybe somewhere around there, that hopefully I can make it home for the start of the 4th, as well as get a good amount. So there's going to be a little bit of a superficial takes, maybe some just based on the score and the stats and the limited things that I see in the fourth quarter. So, but don't fret on Monday morning. I will, or on Monday afternoon, we'll definitely do the full breakdown. I usually watch the whole game in its entirety, and then I move on to watching it. Well, I watch it three times in its entirety, and then try to focus and take notes as I go. So I will definitely be giving you out with every possible take that I can get and observation that I can make from this Cleveland Browns versus Minnesota Vikings game that's coming up here in London, England. And there you guys have it. That's basically my Minnesota Vikings versus Cleveland Browns preview, breakdown, analysis, thoughts, takeaways, and predictions going in for this game. I hope that it turns out to be as close to my analysis and prediction that it can be. And I hope that we come away with a win here. Before we get going, is there any other questions, concerns, or anything like that that you guys might be thinking about that you want my perspective or my optimistic view on? And while you guys do that, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. I am on the road to 500 subscribers. Hopefully, I'm able to hit that by the end of the calendar year. Trying to give you guys objective, optimistic, positivity, quality, outside of the box thinking and takes for you guys to give you guys a different perspective than what the most mainstream media and popular channels like to give you, right? So yeah, other than that, were there any other questions, comments, concerns before we go? Doesn't look like it, guys, but I really do appreciate it. And thank you for joining me on this breakdown. And Skol Vikings. We'll see you guys on Sunday.